Yo, what's up, dude? Hey, do you want, like, your power back or something? Oh. Dude, stop. All right, I'm not doing this. Alright, so before I even touched Mortal Kombat 1, I pretty much already knew the narrative. This game fell off, the story sucks, and it's honestly just overall a waste of time. So naturally, when you hear something like this, you do what any other rational human being would do. You immediately download the game and boot up the story. Within the first hour, I'm seeing Johnny Cage as Indiana Jones, Liu Kang as the literal fire god, and Melina, but with a normal mouth. So basically, right from the get-go, I knew that this was going to be a very different story compared to the rest. So as you saw before, the game opens up with Shang Tsung. Down on his luck, he's peddling, selling snake oil around Outworld. He gets found out, they beat the shit out of him. In walks in Kronika, the Titan from the previous game. She offers Shang Tsung all of his power back as long as he does her a favor. Now, I don't know about you, but at this point, immediately, I'm very confused, and it just started. I'm sure if I played every single Mortal Kombat story before playing this one, it would all make sense. I'm just not that kind of guy, I guess. Now, why is Shang Tsung in this predicament? Well, let's go back. Long story short, Liu Kang becomes the fire god, but before that, he was Titan Liu Kang, and he erased the entire timeline and created a brand new one, and in doing so, he made pretty much most of the big bads have very small fry places on the ladder. Now, I'm not gonna lie, the whole timeline reset thing at first kind of threw me off, but seeing the way they did it with this game, I actually really liked what they did with everybody's backstories and actually showing us in real time when some happen. We'll get to that later. So we start off seeing Kung Lao and Raiden. Yes, that Raiden, but he doesn't have any thunder powers. He's just some guy. And they're tending to the fields in their village. After they do their work, they go back to Madame Bo's, and honestly, the vibes are immaculate at Madame Bo's. It's chill, it's vibey, everything's made out of wood. All the obvious Eastern architecture around the buildings, and just this whole game is honestly gorgeous in the way that it presents its visuals to you. Oh, but it's not all sunshines and rainbows, because out of nowhere, Smoke and the rest of the Lin Kuei appear. Smoke punches and then slams Madame Bo's head into a railing, and not long after, throws her off the balcony. Now, I don't know about you, but I pretty much right away was in absolute awe at what I just witnessed within the first 5 minutes of this story. So obviously our boys get up to fight, and this is where the first bit of combat comes in. I'm just gonna give you a spoiler alert. I don't give a fuck about the gameplay. Yeah, I know that sounds like kind of like fucked up and weird, but I genuinely went into this game with the intention to just pull out the story. Could I have just watched the entire movie on YouTube? Yes, but I wanted to play the game. I didn't want to play, but I wanted to play. I didn't want to go to YouTube and just watch it and then explain it, because that I feel like there's no immersion there. Every so often I did have to do stuff, so it kept me in. But I was really just there for the story. Anyways, we win. It's victory. Liu Kang shows up, and he's just like, "Sup, bro? Yeah, I planned all that shit." Liu Kang is gathering the champions, because Mortal Kombat still exists in his new timeline. They never explain why he couldn't just make it so none of that could happen. So now we're gonna meet our next champion, Johnny Cage. Is that fucking Indiana Jones? Illinois Johnny. Fuck! So this is where we meet Johnny Cage, aka Illinois Johnny, the Indiana Jones ripoff. He's walking through this forest, and he's got his young ward with him, who looks 30, and they're headed to find a secret treasure, some type of golden shield. We enter an ancient temple. As we're walking in, we notice a pool of water on the ground. Johnny immediately goes, "Hey, you see that?" And the kid just goes, "Yeah, it's metal, whatever." And Johnny goes, "Liquid mercury, fatal." We walk over, we grab the shield, and obviously the zombie corpse, when you grab the shield, is gonna wake up. But for some reason, this idiot didn't realize it and falls into the liquid mercury. And this visual shocked me, dude. It was straight out of Raiders, dude. It freaked me out at first, because deadass, I forgot that we are playing a Mortal Kombat game. Anyways, you know, Johnny he goes back home after getting denied by Spielberg. Also, Spielberg's in the movie. Just thought I'd let you know that. He heads back home, and apparently he's having some marital issues with his wife because he's spending way too much money when they are literally broke, because he is a washed-up actor. She walks out on. At this point, I understand what they're trying to do. They're trying to show Johnny as an actual human being that has feelings and emotions, not just a narcissistic asshole actor. This is when we get Kenshi. They get into a little scrap. It's back and forth, back and forth. Johnny wins. He ties him up in a chair. And as he's interrogating him, there's a knock at the door. "What's up, bro?" fucking Liu Kang again. And he's here to pick up not just Johnny, but Kenshi as well. They go back to the temple, and they train, and they box, and they bond, and then it all comes down to the final day. This is the day that we are deciding on who the champion of this Mortal Kombat is going to be for Earthrealm. Obviously, as the player, I'm curious as to which one of these four is going to be picked. And then the game has you pilot Raiden right away, and only Raiden for all the fights. And it's just, okay, so it's Raiden. It's Raiden. As soon as he wins, Liu Kang pulls out the Thunder Amulet. Dude, when I saw that Thunder Amulet, I was in like awe. It's so cool with the blue glowing original logo dragon on it, and the way that he grabs it and he takes it and he actually uses the ability right away. And I don't know, it just feels so much cooler knowing Raiden in this story is human and he's not just some other god, and Liu Kang is kind of filling that position. The roles reversed is something I really enjoy. Now it's time to head for Outworld. Honestly, the most beautiful part of this entire game. Everything about Outworld is absolutely breathtaking, from the architecture to the livelihood of all the townsfolk running around during the festival, to just the greenery and shrubs that are all around, and the portal itself to get there. I mean, it's amazing. It's just a really good vibe, and I really vibe with it. There's a scene later where we're having dinner, and it's like all dark and moonlit, and all the grass and like plants are all neon lit, and it feels like you're in a club, but you're outside, and it kind of feels like Electric Forest, even though I've never been there, but I'm assuming that's what it's like, right? We're taken through and we meet Kitana and Mileena. But in this world, they're just two chill sisters. They're princesses, daughters of the Empress Sindel. And Mileena has a normal mouth. I don't know if I've ever seen a Mileena with a normal mouth. We move forward because we have to go through the townsfolk in order to get to Sindel to meet her and introduce Earthrealm's champion. It's like, all right, we're gonna have a quick little chat. We're gonna discuss when everything happens, and then we're gonna talk about who we're fighting and yada, 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 all this shit. No, the minute we get to Sindel's foot, she goes, "Let the combat begin." And we're thrust into 3 fights right away. Obviously, we win them. And before we have the chance to get on to the next fight, Sindel mentions that we should have dinner first, and that's where that scene I was talking about comes in. During dinner, though, we find out that the next opponent is going to be Mileena. However, she's afflicted with a mysterious disease, and if she gets into a fight, it could actually cause a flare-up.
I can't chance it, can I? If you fight tomorrow, the symptoms of your disease could manifest.
Disease becomes known, you will be banished to the wastes.
Now I wonder what kind of disease would be so fearsome that it would kick somebody out. I don't know. So we get back to it, into the fights, and Kitana takes Mileena's place. We beat Kitana, and that's it. Like, literally, that's Mortal Kombat. That's it. Roll credits. No, but in all seriousness, when I saw that that was how the Mortal Kombat just went, and that was it, I was kind of blown away. They're obviously going for something very differently here in this story. It kind of makes sense that they're, like, doing this kind of soft reboot. So anyways, Earthrealm wins, and now we can go about our business and everything's a-okay. Yeah, psych on that. Geras shows up, and he basically tells Liu Kang, excuse me, Shang Tsung's back.
Go on.
Obviously, Liu Kang is furious, so he sends the gang back into Outworld to save Raiden. They get into Outworld, and they're walking around, they're, you know, just traveling, and they come across a camp. In this camp, it looks like a bunch of monstrous humanoids and guards harassing those monstrous humanoids. We are to believe that these are the Tarkatan people, the people that are afflicted with a rare disease that turns them into monsters. And through all this, all these monsters kind of look like a familiar face. I just can't put my oh my god.
I am Baraka.
It's Baraka. That's right, we got Baraka, but this time, he's got a tragic backstory. Yeah, so basically, Baraka used to be a rich fucking guy, and then he got the disease, and they casted him out, and everybody said, fuck this guy, even though the disease isn't easily transmitted. But regardless, they sent him out, and now he runs this whole colony. And apparently, Shang Tsung has been doing experiments on them, specifically taking a syringe and extracting their spinal fluid. After we explain that we are not with Shang Tsung, Baraka takes us to his laboratory. We pull up on this laboratory, and as we walk in, we all see Mileena laying on a doctor's table and Shang Tsung injecting her with that fluid. So I and the rest of the gang all correctly assume that Shang Tsung is injecting Tarkatan disease into Mileena to fuck with her and ruin her chances of being Empress. So obviously me and the boys, we run in and we start the fight. After we obviously win all of the fights, we go to get Mileena off of the table, but she transforms immediately. Yeah, so apparently Shang Tsung was actually trying to help lower the symptoms of the Tarkatan disease that was inside of Melina. So we get into a fight with Melina begrudgingly. We have to make sure we don't hurt her, but it ends with her stabbing Kenshi's eyes out. Dude, it was brutal to see it happen. After a painful defeat, we get taken down to the real laboratory, a dungeon beneath where we just were, and it is disgusting. It is, honestly, everything you see around you is just gross, like flesh and blood and dripping noises, and it's just, it gives me the heebie-jeebies. While we're in the dungeon, though, above us, another voice is heard. And here enters Quan Chi, and honestly, kind of freaked me out. I don't know what it is, but seeing Quan Chi with actual skin tone, just it's upsetting. It doesn't feel right. It just doesn't feel right. This is where we're introduced to our jailer, Reptile.
How is he?
His eyes are gouged out. Guess.
Except he's hot. That's a hot reptile right there. He's a hot guy. He's a hot boy. He's hot. It's a hot reptile. Smash. So then we escape and we start heading back towards the portal to get back to Earthrealm. On our way there, we find Ashra, previous demon, now on her quest for redemption. Apparently she used to be Quan Chi's disciple, and her sword works like an Inigo Montoya sword from the Princess Bride and can lead them directly to him.
Guide my sword, please.
We finally find Quan Chi in the middle of the living forest, a forest that houses all the spirits of the good people that have died in Outworld. And the faces in the trees really visualize that these trees are housing souls, which was like kind of on the nose, but I really appreciate it nonetheless. So as we pull up on Quan Chi, we see that he is standing there with a few other star-studded cast members of the villain force. You know, famous names like Havoc, Natara. I fucking hate Natara. And they're standing underneath a giant golden thingy mabobber that looks like a helix, and it's called a soul stealer. The whole point of it, it's gonna steal some souls. God, I love NetherRealm Studios. Quan Chi activates it and it starts sucking up all the souls in the living forest.
God, it's a soul NATO.
And a really cool detail that they put in here is that all the trees that had faces, the trees' faces then turn into skulls. And I actually really appreciate that as well. And with the Soul Stealer, they create Ermac. So there's a big old brawl once again. We fail in even capturing Quan Chi, but before that can happen, a soul comes out of the Soul Stealer, attacks Quan Chi, and sucks the melanin right out of him. But that is what happens. He sucks the soul out of him, and it's like, and as he's sucking the soul, his melanin also fades. And then we get classic Quan Chi! Yay! So basically, we go back to Earthrealm to talk to Liu Kang again and inform him that it's not just Shang Tsung, we also have Quan Chi. At this point, I feel like Liu Kang is just over it and tries to find Shang Tsung's fortress in Earthrealm, which he finds pretty quickly, so he immediately sends the Lin Kuei after it. Sub-Zero is starting to exhibit some really
He was blind to our superiority.
oh, I'm a bad guy behavior, and I'm sure that won't come up later. They enter the fortress pretty much guns a-blazing. They get in. They do some ninja shit on the way in, but nonetheless, they get in, and they get into a scrap with Quan Chi before 8 guards show up and somehow take out both of them. Oh yeah, Smoke got left behind because he got knocked off a bridge, and he's not a real Lin Kuei, and that shows that he sucks, according to Bihan. At this point, we get Shang Tsung exposition. He explains what they're doing there, what the fortress is really holding, and what they're actually planning on doing with the Soul Stealers. With the Soul Stealers, they're planning on filling this whole array of stone, dragon, knight, samurai, warrior, soldiers, basically, with the souls of the lost. He also nudges at Bihan. Hey, listen. I know your guys' people are kind of like shit out of luck right now. If you join my side, I can give you guys power. Now, obviously, I'm sitting there and I'm just fuming. How dare Shang Tsung ever think that a real Lin Kuei man would go against his honor and his code? Bihan! God damn it, Bihan! He fucking agrees. He fucking agrees. Is being under Liu Kang that bad? Like, do you really not like having the fire god in your back pocket? The whole thing happens and Scorpion fucking escapes by beating the shit out of everybody, and he runs out and he gets out into the courtyard and he meets back up with Smoke. Right before they're about to escape to get back to Liu Kang, Sub-Zero appears again. Yep, damn, he got his fucking shit rocked, didn't he? We take him back to Liu Kang to give him the bad news. So it's at this point in the story that Liu Kang finally decides that maybe he should take a step in the opposite direction and actually go to Outworld and explain to Sindel what's happening. Basically, Sindel has been under the impression this entire time that Earthrealm are the ones that are causing all this havoc, and they're the ones that are sending spies in and causing problems for them. So she's trying to start a war now. But that's the thing, she never wanted war. She only wanted war if they showed that they were aggressive. And right now, it seems like they're showing aggression because of Shang Tsung in her ear. Liu Kang gets to Outworld and immediately goes to Sindel and basically tells her, yo, that Shang Tsung guy? Yeah, I made him. That guy fucking sucks. He should not even be here. And Sindel is kind of just looking at him for a second and he goes, prove it.
How could I have so misjudged them?
Liu Kang's entire idea to get her to believe him was just take her to the real laboratory, which honestly, yeah, it checks out. Now with Sindel on their side, it's time to go confront Shang Tsung again. We Avengers assemble to the fortress and we start the charge. We're going through with Melina and we come across Ermac. The fight goes pretty much how you expected. We win because that's how the story progresses. But something different happens this time.
Melina, wait.
Father? Father? Is it truly you?
Yes, Melina. This body was created from the living forest's souls. Mine was one of them.
No fucking way. Something I didn't touch on earlier in the video is that the Empress and her two daughters once had an emperor with them. His name was Jared, and he was a stand-up fucking guy. We love Jared.
As always, Sindel, I am yours to command.
Ride or die, bro. We fuck with Jared. I want to be like Jared for real. So now, with the whole family back together and our friends that we've met along the way, we storm the castle. And right before we can win, our mysterious benefactor shows her face. And this is the point where I'm literally thinking in my head, okay, so how are they going to explain how Kronika is back? Because they literally said earlier here that Kronika cannot come back. But this wasn't Kronika.
You were pawns, not partners.
God damn it, Shang Tsung! Why are you smirking like that through the whole fucking game, dude? Get that smirk off of your face. That's right, Titan Shang Tsung is our actual big bad. And he comes in with his multiverse of madness. If you can't tell, I can kind of scrap together that a lot of this story has a lot of Marvel influence going on here. So yeah, Shang Tsung basically explains that when Liu Kang and him fought in Mortal Kombat 11, it actually split the timelines into two with two different victors. Liu Kang's victor, where he became the Titan that controls time, and Shang Tsung's victor, where he becomes the Titan and creates the timelines. And what? So yeah, Shang Tsung was in a world where he already won, didn't have to interact with this timeline at all whatsoever, but his petty ass, his fragile ego, is so much so that he needed to come here, attempt to merge the timelines, and kill Liu Kang again. Now we're scrapping again, and this time we're scrapping mirrors. Not actual mirrors, but we're seeing all the mirror characters in action right now. All the dark versions of all the characters from the previous games. And apparently, Dark Sindel is an absolute badass. She takes out the entire group effortlessly. So it's up to our Sindel to take it up.
Your tenacity is to be admired. Until our last breaths are taken, as long as blood flows through our veins, we are not beaten. Noble sentiments, which in the end matter little. None of you will leave here alive.
screaming at my monitor when this happened. I may not have shown it much in this video, but I became very emotionally attached to the Outworld royal family. There's just something about Melina's whole character arc of having the Tarkatan disease and being the next in line as the Empress and not being able to fulfill her role as the champion of Outworld in the Mortal Kombat. It's just, she's been through so much. And then Sindel, she lost her husband and she's got the golden age of Outworld in the palm of her hands, and she's doing everything in her power to keep the peace and make sure everybody can live in harmony, all because of fuck-ass Shang Tsung. And obviously, in a rage, Melina changes again, but this time, she doesn't lose control. With the power of love and anime, we beat the fucking dog shit out of Dark Sindel. That's right, fuck you! Fuck you! Dude, we just got Jared back, and I didn't even fucking know Jared existed. He just came back to be with his wife, and he loses his fucking wife.
You are now Empress. Rule well.
I will, Mother. Father and Katana will help me.
And in her dying breath, she officially crowns Melina the new Empress of Outworld.
Of course.
Anyways, at this point, we have no other choice but to retreat, and now it's up to Liu Kang to go and get his Titan powers back, so that way he stands a chance against Shang Tsung.
What's happened? Where am I?
A long way from home. In a different timeline, to be precise.
That's right, we got a multiverse, baby! Basically, Liu Kang gets his Titan abilities back, and he goes searching for it, and who does he find but Titan Katana and that Titan ass. I'm sorry, I didn't want to put it in the script. Like, why did they? It's just unnecessary. Anyways, we find a few other allies, and now we have Titan Kung Lao and Titan Raiden and Titan Katana. Mortal Kombat really just said, fuck it, let's do the multiverse thing. It's time for the finale. We come out of a Doctor Strange portal like it's the end game ending, and God, I'm telling you, it's just a Marvel movie. And at first, Shang Tsung's looking down the staircase and he's like, wow, that's a lot of strong friends. Good thing I brought my own. But before we can get into that, Mortal Kombat gives me the worst quick time event I've ever seen in my life. And I just knew that I had to pick Melina. And that's because I'm gonna have to stop me right there. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so this is the part in the script where I said that thematically speaking, picking Melina is obviously the right choice. I mean, when we really think about it, everything that's happened in this entire story is Shang Tsung's fault. And this is the perfect opportunity for Melina to get her revenge for him killing her mother. But it's not just that. She's about to be the new Empress of Outworld. So what better way to show that she is the Empress than to take out a Titan? Nobody would ever bat an eye at her being Empress ever again. Yeah, that's not what happened. Everybody, select your final warrior? Oh, shit. Oh, shit. Fuck. Yeah, Melina, fuck it. Yeah, dude, I panicked. I panicked so fucking hard, dude. Regardless, though, I still think that holds up. I think thematically speaking, my panic, I just went with the right choice. I also think it probably has to do with the fact that I really liked her playstyle while playing her in the story. I think she was the only character I really resonated with. Also, she's hot. It's time for the gauntlet of madness. And at this point, I didn't realize that we would be seeing character mashups. I saw a female reptile. I saw Johnny Savage. I saw Liu Kano. There was so many random characters, and I kind of loved it. Anyways, it's time for the big final fight. Unfortunately, I'm playing on very easy mode because I'm only here for the story, and, well, yes. Ow. Yeah. So we beat Shang Tsung, we beat Quan Chi, and Liu Kang quite literally Thanos snaps them into dust. I'm telling you, this is literally Avengers. And from there, we fade to black, and we find ourselves back where we started in the beginning of the game at Madame Bo's restaurant. We got the core four that we started with: Johnny Cage, Kenshi, Raiden, and Kung Lao. We're talking about what they're doing after all of this, and Johnny Cage already has his script written up and sold for a movie based on the events that just occurred. Good job, Johnny Cage. Appreciate that. Kenshi's doing well, getting his family out of the Yakuza, and I think Raiden and Kung Lao are now masters out of a martial arts school? I don't know. It wasn't very clear, but I'm just gonna assume that's the case. Liu Kang walks out into the night, and Earthrealm is finally peaceful again. Haha, just kidding. I got your asses because there's a part 2 in a DLC. And that is how Mortal Kombat 1's story ends. Okay, I'm not gonna lie. This entire game was a very weird experience for me. It was only weird in the sense that I came into this game knowing that it was probably going to be nonsense, but I didn't care because I didn't want that to sway my opinion on it. I think my biggest takeaway always is just that when you go into something that is so universally hated, it's hard not to go into it with some type of bias. But then when you really look at things, some things are really just there purely for entertainment. You don't always need some crazy twist, like Ermac actually coming back out after Jared hugs Melina as like a big fuck you, haha, and then killing her. Like, NRS could have done that. At the end of the day, it's a fighting game story. Now, obviously, there's a lot of this game that I didn't touch in this video. There's a whole DLC, there's invasions, there's towers, and then there's the obvious online experience. I don't think I can confidently say if the game is good or bad, but what I can say is that the story is absolutely great. I had a blast playing. So yeah, if that's the bar that we're setting, I'd say Mortal Kombat is good.